My hands have never really known the definition of the word steady. My left limb is a bird on the wind more often than it is a tree branch on a still morning, which is to say, I never know where my palms or fingers or nails are going to land until they do. My left hand sambas on regardless of whether it is loaded or not. My right hand is strong enough to bear the burden of most things without complaint. A pen, a phone, a notebook, a clenched fist. This is, of course, until something with real weight is placed in its grasp. This is until it holds onto something it loves. And then it buckles, splinters until the heartwood, pale bone is all but showing. But together, these hands are strong. Synonyms exist to give the dark clouds their silver linings. My left hand is spontaneity, excitement. It is the spark that mirrors the flash in my eyes when I smile. My right hand is much more thoughtful, tender, guided, secure even in the face of ultimate and complete destruction. These hands are home. They are the hands I would hold my lover with if I had one. They're the hands I'd cradle my child with if I had one. They're the hands I'll live my life with, the hands I'll write and type with. These hands have never known the definition of the word steady, but neither has the rest of me. I am a perpetual earthquake, but you will never feel your body shake even as you lie next to me. I draped over your chest, or you cuddled into my shoulders. These hands, they're home. They're strong enough to hold you. So love me. Love me slow. Love me steady. Maybe then my hands will finally learn the beauty of stillness while still dancing.
Just talk to the camera.
Yeah.
Name and poem.
Okay. My name is Georgia Bartlett-McNeil, and my poem is called Steady Hands. I wrote that poem because my hands have a bit of a tremor. It's something that only developed relatively recently, and I hadn't really noticed it until I started working. I'm a scientist, and so I do lots of stuff with my hands. And I was pipetting stuff, and my hands were just shaking. And I was like, oh, that's fun, great, that's something else that I need to worry about now. And that poem kind of just swum into my head that despite the fact that my hands shake and that I'm a perpetual hot mess, I'm actually quite a strong person, I think. Sometimes, maybe. It's debatable. Absolutely not. I just car crash about from one moment to the next, and sometimes little things will just swim into my head and they kind of take root. And if I don't write them down, then they die. So I have to carry notebooks around with me everywhere because my phone dies too often for it to be reliable. And I have to write, if not the phrases that swim into my head, I have to write the whole poem in maybe about 10 or 15 minutes before the idea, more often than not, just completely self-implodes. I started writing poetry when I was about 12 or 13, and I just moved to Scotland, and we'd started studying it in standard grade English, and I remember thinking, this is kind of cool, I like this. And so I started writing poems, and I showed them to my English teacher, and he told me they were shit. And so to spite him, I kept writing. And then he died a couple of years ago, and I met his son at the funeral, and I said, your father taught me English, he taught me about poetry, and I perform in Edinburgh and I do stuff now. And his son was like, oh, that's lovely. I'm like, yeah, your dad always told me my poems were shit. But it's still wonderful. It's still wonderful. Yes. Yes, I've got a manuscript in the work. It's finished. It's just having the finishing touches done to it, but it's there. And there are poems. There's always poems. Write some more. When you think you can't write anymore, write. Read. Think that what you've written is shit, start over, write. Then write some more. Write. Then you'll get to a point where you think, this is good. I want to find people that write. And then you find them. And then you write. And you get better. And you write. And you keep writing. And sometimes you do other stuff, but it's mostly write and cry in a ball. But write. I once hugged Andrea Gibson on the day that the Republic of Ireland legalised gay marriage, which was pretty cool. And I also performed a poem about racism to Buddy Wakefield in a workshop, and that was also kind of cool, and he said he liked it. Friends! All the friends! Friends, and I think poetry for me, as well as being an art process, suffering from mental illness, poetry is very, very important to me in terms of like my mental well-being and actually my ability to cognitively function. When I got into poetry, I was in a really bad way. I was in my third year of university. I was doing terribly, and I kind of stumbled onto it by accident whilst trying to discredit the fact that it existed in the first place. So I was on the internet about 4 a.m. in the morning, and I was trying to look up spoken word nights to try and disprove the fact that it existed. And I found, ironically, the Scottish Poetry Library website where there's a list of all the spoken word nights in Scotland. And I was like, shit, I can't live in denial anymore because there's a list there. And so I messaged Freddie Alexander in the middle of July and was like, when's the next soapbox? Because I need to sign up now because otherwise I won't do it. And he was like, it's not till like October, but yeah, we'll put your name down. Poetry is really important for my mental health and my mental well-being. And I've been doing this for nearly 3 years, and I think people that have known me since I started doing this, to see where I've progressed to now, not just in terms of poetry, but in my actual full self, I think the change and the development in me as a person overall has just been exceptional, and I can only attribute that to poetry. I don't eat breakfast because I'm terrible. But if I had to choose a favourite breakfast, it would be a McDonald's double sausage and egg McMuffin, hash brown, triple chocolate cookie, Diet Coke.